Bum,
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 ba-da,
ba-da,
bum,
bum,
bum.
bum.
Come on, Clint. You know you can do a bendy. You can do
Nah,
a bendy.
I boogie to it. That's what I do.
You boogie to it.
I boogie.
Like boogieing to it is one thing, but you can do a little bit of a bendy. You're a Tenacious D fan. I know you are.
Yeah, but we're not the Eagles here. We don't need 3 guitars. Like Tenacious D, the D is but 2 guitars.
The D is 2 guitars. I'll give you that. That is absolutely right. What's up, fellas? What's
Morning.
going on today?
Go.
How was your weekends?
We're good, man. Hey, listen, you take 2 or 3 from the Texas Rangers. I think a lot of people sleeping on the Rangers. They did just come off a World Series win in 2023. They're still a good ball club, but hey, most important thing, 2 or 3. Got to take 2 or 3 from every team.
That's what I'm talking about. You get a good weekend for you, Marcus?
Yeah, very good weekend. I was a little bit sad because on Friday I was out with the family and I missed what I thought was going to be it was an amazing pitchers duel between Yamamoto and DeGrom. And I was like, but then it turns out that every game was a really great pitchers duel. So it ended up being all right.
It was for the whole series, and we'll get into all of that. But first, the Blue Review, as always, brought to you by LAX. Changes are arriving daily, transforming the travel experience. For more information, go to flylax.com/transforminglax. So we're going to get into all of it. We're going to get into Friday. We're going to get into Saturday. We're going to get into all of it because it was a very big weekend where the Dodgers did take 203. But let's start with yesterday. There's a few things that happened yesterday. I do want to get into Tyler Glasnow and whether or not he can make it through a start at some point this season. But let's start with the play at second base to end the game. So to me, I don't know. We'll start with you, Clint. To me, that was a clear, safe call. I mean, if he was, the call on the field was out. But that, to me, after replay, was a safe call.
Yeah, it definitely felt like there was enough to overturn. I'm grateful that they didn't find enough to overturn. I think you could see maybe they just didn't have enough camera angles. That was one of the things I was complaining about because I was like, we keep seeing these same 2 views where there's nothing conclusive that you can see. But if it's at Dodger Stadium, you're going to find that air gap between Miggy Rowe's hand and whoever it was, Smith's almost crotch or however that play turned out. But I'm grateful that it turned out that way because I did not have a good feeling if that game were to continue.
Yeah, I'm with Clint on that one. I think it's one of those things where I think objectively, I wouldn't have loved the call as a Dodger fan. Then you respect the call of the officials, and you move on to the next day. Greg, I think I've mentioned to you, like I'm not a huge replay fan across sports in general. Like I feel like, if we're gonna Zapruder film this thing and go frame by frame, like I feel like that sort of goes against the spirit of it. But in the end, it worked out on the Dodgers' behalf, and I think to Clint's point, the bullpen is a little bit shaky. I mean, you saw Kirby Yates give up the walk-off home run on Saturday. And so, hey, look, if they can just get out of there with a 1-0 win, and that's the way it goes down, so be it.
Yeah, no, I will absolutely take the win 100% of the time. I thought Tanner Scott was going to get out of that. I did feel good about his outing so far. But someone on Twitter, I put out there on Twitter, like, great way. I'll take the win, but he was absolutely out because it was pretty clear. Miggy Rowe's hand was right in the middle of his legs, like the angle from the back, one of the 2, Clint, where it's just right in there in the middle. He wasn't touching him. The foot touched the back. He was safe. I said that, and someone goes, "That was safe." Like all big letters, all in caps. Safe laces, LACES. Laces count as part of the glove, and the laces definitely touched the runner's leg when he was in the air. Like, bro, no, he didn't.
It's a laces out.
Laces out, Dan.
The tip of the lace of the glove might have had a little bit on there, but no, absolutely.
Hey, I'm just glad that person on Twitter was in the replay room yesterday to help the Dodgers get the win, move on, and get to the next city. Well, 100%. Day off today, and then Chicago on Tuesday.
Yeah, and by the way, that's still so weird that their Dodgers are done with the Cubs by Wednesday, but will not play the Padres or the Giants for 2 months. It's very, very odd.
Marcus and I were complaining about that last week about this dumb schedule. Schedule.
Thanks, Rob Manfred. All right, but either way, yesterday, go ahead. What were you saying?
I'm going to say, but hey, overall, this series, like you said, there's a lot of good pitching in there. Yamamoto, you mentioned him. Do you guys want to talk about Yamamoto? Because heading into the season, admittedly, I kind of just threw it out being hopeful. I said to Alana Rizzo on our Dodgers Territory show, also coming up today, 12 o'clock Pacific time, I said, this is my Cy Young pick this year. I'm looking pretty dang smart at the moment.
Yeah, no, Yamamoto looked fantastic. I think we all have Yamamoto as our. If there was one going to be on the Dodgers,
no.
I think that's pretty much been a consensus overall, Marcus. I don't know about you, but yeah, Yamamoto looks great.
He's been fantastic. He's been, I won't say the one guy, but he's the guy so far this year that when he takes the ball, I don't think we have any concerns really, right? Everything has looked fantastic. Yeah, I'm sure law of averages says there's going to be a rough start somewhere along the way, but generally speaking, it has been lights out when he's been on the mound.
Yeah, he's been absolutely good. I want to go back to Sunday just for a second because I want to talk about Tyler Glasnow. So that's where I was going before you went.
Sorry, I just saw a couple people mention Yama early in the chat, and I was like, I gotta get my Yama in there.
We love that. We love the chat, and we'll get to all of it.
Positive, now back to negative. Let's do it.
Well, is it? Well, it's
a little bit. We're talking Glasnow, yeah.
The fun of the Blue Review, but the Glasnow did look really, really good. He was looking fantastic. He was mowing guys down. He had, I think, 6 strikeouts. He was moving along, and then he had the leg cramps. And it seems to me that Glasnow is the type of guy. If one thing goes wrong, he's like, "That's it. I can't go. I have to step off the plate. That's it. I'm not going to pitch." Do you see the same? How do you feel about Glasnow? We'll start with Marcus. What do you think about Glasnow? I mean, I love the guy. He's really pitching well, but got to stay in games.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks bad, right? When he has the meltdown in Philadelphia because it's raining and he can't get any grip with his cleats, and everything just goes sideways, and he has to leave that start and then to leave this with a leg cramp, which all indications are that it's just a cramp and he's going to make his next start. I think we all sort of want a guy that you think is going to battle through, right? Even just little things that are sort of wrong, right? Because I want to believe that if this were September or October, he would figure out a way to kind of stay in these games. And so maybe in his mind, it's April and let's just make sure we kind of get through this thing. But yeah, it's frustrating when you see little things like that and it leads to him either just falling apart or leaving games. But I would also say this: he's not doing any favors for the argument that pitchers aren't athletes. Like the whole I got a leg cramp and I can't keep going. But I'm willing to brush this aside and see what happens with the next start.
Yeah, in his defense, it was reportedly very muggy, very humid out there in Texas, which makes sense because it's Texas and Texas kind of sucks. So drink your fluids, have your Sunny D and your Gatorade, whatever you need to do to stay on the bump. But I think what makes it, and this is going to be possibly an incendiary name to bring up because of the injuries and still haven't seen him this year, but what you're saying there, Greg, with Kershaw would stay out there. Kershaw would grind through something like that. If he's on the bump, he's going to do what he can to stay on the bump, even if something's barking, if he has to pitch down at 84. I think with Glasnow, it's one of those things where he's been injured so much. He's just trying to do his best to stay on the mound for the long term. But yeah, it's definitely a narrative that is growing louder and louder that, he needs 2 S's in his names because he's Glass.
Now it's he seems to be that way, and he's going to be a very important piece to this rotation no matter what. If he is healthy in the postseason and actually stays in games, he's going to be huge because he has great stuff, and he's one of the few pitchers that the Dodgers have that just consistently attacks the strike zone. He doesn't walk a lot of guys, but he is constantly going after hitters. So when he does go out, it's just a little frustrating, of course, but he's going to be a big part of it. He just reminds me of there's certain guys. You mentioned Kershaw is going to fight through that. Yeah, Kershaw will. Max Scherzer does not fight through that stuff. At some point, in playoff games, that's his MO. In a playoff game, it's oh, my arm, it doesn't feel right today. I just can't pitch this World Series game. Okay, thanks, guy. Really appreciate you being on the table. Yeah. So there's certain guys that are that way, and there's certain guys that are not. But I do still think that he's going to be a big part of this team. Okay, moving on. So Saturday, Roki Sasaki looked much better. He's been getting each one. His first time going through 6. He only gave up 2 hits. He did still have those 3 walks, and he had that 1 home run. At first glance, it's very much as Roki Sasaki needs Andy Pages in center every single game because all he does is steal home runs.
Yeah, that's been a nice addition for Roki there. Just throw one out for AP to kind of kill that narrative that he doesn't know what he's doing in center field.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, apparently that's the whole deal. But I do feel like we've seen progression from Sasaki in each and every start, that it's gotten a little bit better. You know, he had the sort of rough start in Japan, which I think a lot of us chalked up to nerves, struggling with command and that sort of thing. But every single time, it feels like it's gotten a lot better. And through it all, he still hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs in any start. It's a little frustrating when he doesn't make it through 3-4 innings, something like that. But generally speaking, every time Roki Sasaki has left the game, he has left the Dodgers in position to tie or win. It's funny, he pitched in the 16-0 loss, but he gave up 1 run in 5 innings. It was after he left that everything just fell apart on him. So I do respect the fact that he is continuing, I think, to improve. I think we're starting to see a little bit more of what the Dodgers see in him. And I just want to see that continued growth.
Clint?
Yeah, I was going to say, the first 2 starts really for him, a very, nervous energy given off for Roki Sasaki there in Japan. Of course, the home opener, all the expectations, all the media and all that. But since then, it keeps getting better, just keeps on building and building. There's some things, some metrics that say he's a little bit further away from being a great pitcher. If you look at something like FIP or whatever, he's got a 5.17 FIP ERA right now, which I don't know why I'm bringing that up, mostly because I'm looking at the baseball reference. But by the counting stats, he's giving the team innings. He's making it up to 6 innings for the first time in this most recent start. That he had a better left fielder. That home run that Conforto couldn't get probably is grabbed, and maybe it's a clean start. But just keep on trending in the right direction for Sasaki. We had conversations early in the season about after a second, third start, it's like, is this guy going to need to go to AAA for a little bit? But there's nowhere better for him to get better as a pitcher than with Mark Pryor and company at the big league club. So I love what we're seeing with him.
Yeah, it's getting better and better. And you bring up FIP. That's actually one of the counting stats that I really do like. If anybody in the chat doesn't know what that is, that's fielding independent pitching. So basically, it's what you do as a pitcher, and you just take fielding out of it completely. So it's his 5.17 FIP means that's pretty much what he's throwing to right now. Yeah. So that it's including the first start and all of that. But to me, it seems like it's gotten a lot better. I mean, the velocity to me, Marcus, is still a little bit down. It's not, he's supposed to come in about a 98 to 102, and he's probably sitting around 96 to 98 in that range. Yeah. It could be a different ball from Japan. It could be that he just hasn't gotten his arm strike all the way up. Are you seeing anything with the velocity? Does it worry you at all?
I mean, mildly, but I heard some of that chatter before the season started too, that the velocity was starting to come down a little bit from where it had been previously. So, I think once he starts to develop more, pitches, I think that that worry lessens a little bit. Right now, he's basically a 2-pitch guy. He's a fastball and he's that devastating splitter, which, right now, the way it works is when the fastball, when he can throw that for strikes and get ahead in the count, then that splitter becomes even more deadly because now guys have to chase a little bit. It's when he's missing his spots early and he's finding himself in 1-0 counts, 2-0 counts. Suddenly, that sort of takes that out of play, or it takes it to where he has to throw it in the zone, which makes it a little bit more of a hittable pitch. So, I think the velocity is one thing. I think, look, if you're still touching 98 consistently, I think you're generally going to be okay. But I do look forward to it. It's probably maybe not happening this year, but I think in years beyond, when he starts to develop a third pitch, another way to sort of keep hitters off balance, then I don't think we worry so much about a mile or 2 an hour in terms of velocity.
Yeah, and that was one of the worries I know some people had online. The velo was down even more in the start, and I think he was kind of giving up some velo for a little bit of movement, and that did help because he didn't necessarily have that splitter going, and we know he's been trying to refine and make the slider a good consistent pitch for him, a good consistent third pitch. So to see him be able to kind of live on that fastball a little bit more with the movement, like, listen, we've seen a lot of dudes give up the velo and make the ball move a little bit more west and east to get him out of of ball games or get them out of jams. And I would love to see Roki not worry as much about, oh, I used to throw 100. Well, get outs with 94 and something going east, and maybe even mix in a cutter to go west. I don't know how the cutter would work with the your fork ball grip and all of that, but they're going to keep on working with him with that, with the just different things, different pitches.
Yeah, I mean, we forget too that he's 23 years old, and that's something that this is his first season coming over from Japan. It's going to take some time, but he's actually showing a lot of promise, and the fact that he is giving up a little bit of velo for a little bit of more movement to what you're saying, Clint, it does make a big difference. And look, Roki's going to be great. I think he's going to finish out this season really, really well. I don't expect him to be like this every single game where he only gives up 2 runs. He's going to have some blow up games. I can see that in his future, especially when he continues to still when he walks a lot of guys. I know he had 3 walks in this last one, but let's go to the bullpen a little bit, because what happened on Saturday was that Kirby Yates comes in for the 9th inning, who has been a closer in the past, had great stuff. He's been really good recently, actually, too. A lot of movement on his pitches, double home run, game over. So are you worried at all about Kirby Yates, the bullpen? Because I thought Tanner Scott was actually pretty good recently. Clint, you go first.
With the bullpen, no, not so much. I mean, losing Blake Trinan for however long he's going to be out, that's definitely a massive blow. Getting Evan Phillips back is big. Hopefully, we're a couple weeks away from Michael Kopech. With Yates, I think he's going through a little bit of command issues right now, because we saw it even in his last outing at Dodger Stadium, or second to last outing at Dodger Stadium. He didn't necessarily, the ball wasn't going exactly where he wanted to go, and he was frustrated. It was an ugly outing, even if I think he didn't give up runs. But this is a veteran, been there, done that kind of dude, and going in there against his old team with the 1-run lead, I think it was just going to always be one of those series where one pitch, one big hit was going to determine each game, and it did in that particular outing with Adolis Garcia just tanking that shot. But I'm not worried. I mean, this is still just such a great bullpen. Outside of that awful 16-run game, it's been a really, really good bullpen.
My only concern right now with the bullpen is just how much they're using them. Yep. I think that's sort of it. Is that right now I think they lead the majors in terms of bullpen innings pitch, and I don't think it's particularly close. So that worries me a little bit. Like, I would love to see some of these starters get a little deeper into games, right? Like, I feel confident that Yamamoto is going to do that. Like if Glasnow gets through whatever it is that he's working through right now, I think you can expect to see him start to get you through 6 innings more consistently. And so, I mean, I think ideally, if you're Dave Roberts, if you're a fan, anybody, you would rather see the bullpen working, for 3 innings as opposed to 4 or 5 innings. And so that's kind of what it is. I think in terms of just, the makeup of this bullpen, the stuff they have, the players they've got, I don't have any real worries. But the fact that they are logging this many innings in April, you just worry about these guys sort of wearing down when you get to the end of the season.
And that's the biggest thing, right? We say it all the time, or at least I do, is that your bullpen at the beginning of the year is not your bullpen at the end of the year. And this is one of those main reasons for it, because of the Dodgers' usage of the bullpen. Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, Yamamoto went 7, Sasaki went 6, Glasnow was rolling through 4. He could have gotten up to, I think he was only around 40 pitches through 4. So he could have gone very, very deep. The starting pitchers in this series were really, really good. I think Dustin May has to have a very long start tomorrow, at least 6 or 7, to your point, Marcus, of get only 3 innings, because they are going to go with a bullpen game on Wednesday. So Dave Roberts said they are going to go with a bullpen game on Wednesday instead of bringing up a guy like Justin Robleski, who is now available to come back up. Probably a better space to be in. I don't really want to see Robleski ever again, or at least not for another year until he's figured everything out. But I don't know. Are you worried now about the bullpen game, Marcus?
I mean, a little, yeah, sure. Especially against a team like the Cubs that we've seen, they can score runs, right? This team it's a good offensive club. So, yeah, I mean, a little bit it does. I'm sort of surprised they're going with a bullpen game, knowing they've got the off day today and they have an off day on Thursday before they come back home. So that kind of surprises me a little bit. But I don't know. Like it can go either way. You know what I'm saying, guys? I mean, you guys know this. Like, if Robleski comes out and he gives you 3 fairly clean innings, and you feel good about the rest of the guys in that bullpen, then I think it's okay. If Robleski comes out and he's got traffic all over the place, and he's struggling to get through two, and he leaves, and it's the Cubs have 2 or 3 runs. You don't feel quite as great about it, especially because look, I know Texas has good pitching guys, but the offense still has not fully come to life, I think, the way people have expected this year.
One of the things I also worry about in Chicago is, hey, which way is that wind going to be blowing? Because baseball can go bye-bye in a hurry with some of these arms. You'd rather I would like to see them bring up some sort of length arm to give them one more, because like Ben Casparius has been their sort of length dude, the guy that could go 2 or 3 innings. They need one more of those guys. I feel like if they're going to get a bullpen game, hey, we saw Brent Honeywell in Texas this weekend. Give him a call, give him a contract real quick. He'll go out there and give you his arm for a few innings. Love that, by the way,
and a turtleneck.
And a turtleneck and chain, which plays in windy Chicago. But shout out to the Dodgers, the way they honored Brent Honeywell before that game, giving him his ring, giving him his gold jersey, and my boy fighting back tears. The leader of the Dogs there from last year. That was cool. I loved every minute of that.
I did love that, by the way, and I thought it was actually really cool hearing Freddie Freeman say, "Hey, man, what you did in NLCS Game 5, he's like, that was just selfless." Because everybody, we watched that game, and you just kind of knew at some point with the way the pitching was that Honeywell was just going to have to wear it, There was no help on the way for him. And so, it's one of those things that statistically looked awful, but I think everybody who watched this team last year and watched that game understood exactly how special and how necessary that outing was for Honeywell last year. So I was, it felt really good to hear Freddie kind of acknowledge that too in the locker room.
Oh, absolutely. Because think about it this way. If you used a couple of different guys, if you used Blake Tryon in that position, maybe his arm is about to fall off in the World Series Game 5. He doesn't get through a second inning. Like, those are all things that could have absolutely happened. So Brent Honeywell was a absolute beast in all of that. So great for him. I'm really happy to see him do that. That's not right now. I don't really have. What is the worry for this team right now? They have the best. They're tied for the best record in baseball. I think they have 1 loss less than the Padres. But what is the biggest worry that you have? Because they're not playing well. They have not been playing well for this entire season. They have the best record, tied for the most wins in all of baseball, Clint.
It's health, consistency, really just seeing consistency through the roster, because the starting pitching has been good at times. It's been not giving enough at times. The same with the bullpen, but then lineup wise, you rely too much on the top of the lineup still. You need to see like the secondary guys. I think that's where I'm eventually going to go with this. Let the secondary guys kind of step up and need to do their jobs more. When Miggy Rose in the lineup, do a little bit more than what he's been doing. Barnes, do more. Then we don't feel like the glaring holes in the lineup or with the bullpen or the pitching side. You call up Wrobleski, puts up a stinker. Landon Knack puts up a stinker. The guys who are stepping in to not be the heroes, the aces, the number one dudes, do more when you are called upon.
Right. No, that's 100% where I am, is that especially that bottom part of the order, right? We need some more consistency out of them. It was nice to see Max Muncy, it feels like, turn a corner a little bit. He's starting to walk some more. He's able to put some balls in play, hit the ball hard. That feels like a big plus, but it's getting, guys like Kike Hernandez, Miggy Rowe, those bottom of the order guys, get them going a little bit more. Greg, we talked about it last week. We need more at-bats for Shohei with guys in scoring position. It's just not a thing that's happened consistently. So I think once those guys start to hit, I think we'll see Shohei get more of those RBI opportunities.
No, I think so too. It's going to come. And by the way, I about my villain thing, Clint. So I picked it last week. Marcus knows it. Michael Conforto. He is my villain for this year because he's a dead spot. If you're going to be that guy in the 5 or 6 spot, you need to drive in runs, and he only has 5, and he has been grounding into a bunch of double plays. He does walk a little, but even so, in that series alone, his on-base percentage went from like 360 something to 340. It's dropping heavy.
I love the synergy on that because I kind of picked him. I call it a narrative guy, the guy I need to just absolutely crap all over, and he's earning it. Michael Conforto is earning, the vitriol because he's been rough, and talk about a double play machine. He's not an exceptional defender in left field. got some other kids down to AAA doing some things.
Yeah, definitely. But it is 8:55, so thank you guys very much, Clint. Thank you as always. Clint will be here every single Monday. Tell us where we can find all of your stuff, Clint.
Well, find me on the social medias at RealFRG. Give me a follow there. Twitter, Instagram for some reason. Of course, I co-host Dodgers Territory with Lana Rizzo every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And we also post-game on Tuesdays, so we'll be live after Cubs tomorrow. And I got my show, All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas, here on the YouTube, here in podcast form. So subscribe to everything and subscribe here to ESPN LA and find me on Mondays.
Look at that. He's got merch and everything. Should we get merch, Marcus? I think we should.
We should absolutely get merch.
Think anybody get it? Yeah, we can figure something out. All right. Tommy Lamb, get on it. We need some merch. All right. That'll do it for the Blue Review. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much, Clint. As always, thank you, Marcus. We'll see you tomorrow. And thank you to the chat. Thank you to LAX. And stick around. It's a lit Tuesday. And so on DeMarco, Travis and DeMarco coming up next. See you.
It's Monday.
Oh, Monday.